Well, the intro to the beginning of the show.
This is the intro to the beginning of the show because we recorded well, when I say we, what happened?
Well, enlighten everyone, because I haven't heard.
What?
I haven't heard how it turned out. But
We're doing it now. This is the show.
prior to this,
What happened? What are you talking
the
about?
one where I was too busy to turn up and
Yeah.
you went along anyway.
Yeah, we did it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, a couple of days ago, I scheduled an episode of the Potato Revolution, episode 7, which is what this one is. This is just an extended extra.
A couple of days ago. It was
It
like
was a couple of
2
days
weeks
ago.
ago.
It was 2 days ago.
Fuck off.
It was
oh, you
what?
recorded it. You didn't schedule it.
Oh, no, I scheduled it like a month.
No, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. But the point was, you weren't there.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just went, let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I got in some friends. I got John Potter and I got Evan McHugh. You've heard Evan before on the show, and you've heard us on his show if you listen to his show.
Evan, who was double booked, and John, who was given the wrong address.
Let's not talk about it anymore. All right. Should I just play the show for everyone and they can listen to it, or do you want to have a little bit of a chat first?
I think it's fine the way it is. If people listening to this, I'm assuming they heard the podcast with you and John and Evan.
No. What? I haven't heard it yet.
This is the intro to that
This is
podcast.
the first bit.
Oh, okay, I see. Well, there you go. All right, we'll leave it at that. Enjoy a podcast.
Okay,
minus
yeah,
one of us.
It's gonna start now. So it's a bit shaky at the beginning. I should let everybody know exactly what happened. That day was a terrible day for me. You know those nights when it's like, you go to bed and for some reason you had like a Red Bull at 10 o'clock before you go to bed, like 10 p.m. And then you go to bed and you're like, I can't sleep. I'm never going to sleep. My brain's just not going to shut off. I didn't have a Red Bull. That's the thing. But my brain was like that for, until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to go to sleep. Not going to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's me every night. Yep.
Yep, doing a whole lot of that. And didn't get to sleep until about 5 o'clock in the morning, which was bullshit. And so, yeah, getting up the next day, I was just like grumpy and dazed and all of that sort of thing. What I'm saying is I'm making up excuses for why I was shit on the podcast. You will hear and you will see. But don't worry, like, the first 5 minutes are a bit shaky, but it does get better. Yeah, enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Play the theme song.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Potato Revolution.
My name's Andy Maymay.
You're not Andy Maymay. Andy Maymay is not here, regretfully. He's too busy with his girlfriend, la-di-da. But I am joined by Evan McHugh and John Potter.
Ahoy, audience.
That's fine.
That was fun. That's how I introduced myself. I was introducing myself through the medium of laughter.
Oh, how'd that work out for you?
I think it worked okay.
Yeah, you worked
How's it
okay.
for you, John?
A bit corny, but we'll get there eventually, I think.
All right, let's push forward. I brought you in to speak about various things, and I should have brought some notes, because I'm going off the top of my head here, and I'm like, what am I talking about? Let's talk about what have you guys been doing anyway, like over the last couple of days?
Working, sleeping.
Working, sleeping.
How's this right?
So yeah, we're getting really fascinating. I worked and then I slept. Don't stop. We will get good in the
No,
second.
we're not getting good. We're just going to keep coasting along at this like substandard pace for about 10 minutes, and then we'll just drop down to we'll just stop talking for a while. We'll do some of those awkward glances at each other, and
Like the one I'm getting right now.
yeah, the one, yeah.
What's going to happen is we're obviously getting paid by the government to coast along, and we're actually feeding you subliminal messages that'll make you go out and buy things.
Vote Liberal. What?
You're all getting political on me. Speaking of political, apparently there was a handful of protests the other week about a little movie that I understand is slightly anti-Muslim. Not having seen the film myself, I've just seen the repercussions of it. But you guys have watched it, yeah?
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, I watched it. Of course I watched it, but I heard there was an offensive movie on YouTube. When you click watch, and it is as bad as everyone says it is. Have you seen it, Andy? No, you're not, Andy. I'm just going to call you that because it's easier for me.
I see what you did there.
I mean, it's got these things they do in it, such as they've gotten the actors to make another film, basically, and then somebody's gone back in and dubbed in all these offensive lines. So the actors will be talking, and then suddenly this other voice will come in and will just completely redub the line to make it something offensive about Muhammad. It's bizarre.
It's really, really fucked up because I had a friend of mine who put out a Facebook status saying she read a blog from one of the actors that were in the movie saying, hey, I got screwed, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And she's like, this sounds familiar. So she went through all her old emails, and turns out she'd actually auditioned for a part in a movie called Desert Warrior.
Yeah.
Which then became the Innocence of Muslims.
Right.
She actually tried out for a part. She didn't get a call back though, which is going to kind of hurt.
That has got to be the most. She should just give up acting if she couldn't get in this film.
This piece of
Okay,
crap.
just never try again. You're never going to make it.
But I don't know if I know the guy who played the Prophet Muhammad, but when I saw him, he looks familiar. I think I might have seen him at a party once because he is a friend, like he's a mutual friend of my friend who auditioned for the movie.
Yeah.
And what happened was the Prophet Muhammad in the movie was referred to as George, so he had no idea, and now he's fucked. Like
He can't do
probably
anything.
good
dead.
luck explain that. He's turned off. He's deleted his Facebook. He's changed his number. He's pretty much in hiding, him and his girlfriend for now. And they're trying to convince him, look, just to make a statement, just to say this is what happened. I'm very sorry. I apologize. I didn't think this was going to happen, but don't leave a forwarding address. I wouldn't, because some people just aren't going to get it.
Yeah. So this short video film thing is pretty much going Muslims.
It
Yeah,
is, yeah.
yeah,
And that's sandwich you giving the finger. by
Yes,
the way.
that's right. Sorry, I'm still not used to this audio medium thing. It's not
It's
working for me.
really screwed up because the guy who did it, I can't pronounce his name. He's an expat Egyptian Coptic, which is the Christian minority of Egypt, and this guy's quite an extreme guy. And it's really fucked up that he pretended to be Jewish as well when he got busted for it,
Right.
which he's trying to stoke up anti-Semitism to make the Muslims angrier, when really he just wanted to piss them off around the time of, like, it was around, the movie was made in, I think, July or something, but it didn't really start picking up till just before September 11 anniversary, when suddenly all the right-wing blogs like Jihad Watch and Pam Geller's website Atlas Shrugged, they started posting it aggressively. Like, look at this movie, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Isn't this hilarious? Oh, Muhammad, fuck that guy. And so, yeah, it looks like it was this, trying to make Muslims really angry, trying to kind of hijack the Egyptian revolution by making it seem like, see, look, the Muslims are in power now with the Muslim Brotherhood, and look how crazy they are. It's really fucked up. And then, of course...
And you've got to say it worked.
Yeah.
It
They
did.
certainly got the attention. They've brought this film that nobody would have seen otherwise.
No.
And they've brought it to international public attention.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of dudes just getting out in the street and just fucking shit up.
It'd be funny if people hadn't died over it. You
No.
know? 'Cause it's awful.
What happened when in Libya with the ambassador or something was so screwed up because he worked really hard for Libya when the American government was like, well, should we support Gaddafi or not? He was aggressively pushing for no, Gaddafi's got to go. The people want it. You know, they want democracy. Here's your chance. This is in Iraq. This isn't go in there and bomb them. This is the people want to get rid of a dictator. We should support this.
Yeah.
And so for him to turn around and just get screwed by this Salafist, like really hard right entity is just such a. Isn't life miserable? Isn't it just a shitty thing?
I just don't understand though that like it's a short film, like, you know, like you when I first met you, I'm just gonna chuck this out there, John, because nobody knows who I'm talking to when I say you.
That is my name.
That
John.
is your
Continue,
name.
Morgan.
Yes, when I first met you, one of your things that I ticked, fucking can't even talk. I don't think I've had enough to drink yet.
I too am fascinated to see where he's going.
Yeah,
keep digging.
Keep
talking,
When I
Morgan.
first met you, one of your things that I said, oh, that's a bit strange, was your claim to fame was that you hadn't seen Monty Python, Life of Brian.
I still haven't.
You still haven't seen that?
Yeah, and I pretty much wrote a film like it, which means I'm fucked. So
Okay.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
can see it. It's
Yeah.
just never come across. Like, yeah, I've seen it. I want to see it, but I don't know that. I'm not insane about seeing it. You know, it's not something I'm dying to see. You know,
Yeah.
if somebody says, "John, watch this DVD," and hands me the DVD, and it's physically in my hand,
Yeah.
and I have to I'll watch it then. But until then,
Until-
I'm not going to be running out to find the VHS
Yeah.
and a VHS player to get the thing going. It's
Yeah.
just not going to happen. So, and I hated The Meaning of Life.
No, it's
It's
fair
awful.
enough. It is awful.
Awful film. So, and I understand this film's good. I enjoyed The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
So, if it ever, if I ever have to watch it, I will watch it. But
Yeah.
just for now, I've never seen Star Wars either. So there we go.
That's okay.
And people always look at me strangely when I haven't seen that one. A lot of people haven't seen Life of Brian, but everyone's seen Star
I'm
Wars.
pretty certain I've seen bits of it and was like, nah, not really for me.
I reckon, what, Life of Brian or
Star Wars.
Star Wars? Yeah, if you didn't see that when you were like this tall.
Exactly, it's a bit
Then-
late for it now.
Yeah, it's like, I know all about it because all anyone's done for the past 26 years of my life is talk about it.
Referenced it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yoda, there's a character called Han Solo. It's in space, I hear. And they fly around in spaceships and a lot of people die and things explode. And I feel like I've seen it already, so why bother seeing it?
Well, that's exactly
Is my point of view. And I feel like the same thing about Life of Brian. People die, it's in space. Get over it, guys,
Yeah. But, anyway.
Space.
It's in space.
Okay, that's news to me.
I read Wikipedia, it's definitely in
Oh,
space.
okay, fair enough.
There is actually a space sequence.
Oh, there's two. That's right. Shit.
I didn't know that.
Oh, well played.
I was making a joke, but apparently it's
No,
true.
It's all in there.
There is that weird thing that comes out of nowhere. That's right. I forgot about that.
But, yeah, this movie, Life of Brian, when that came out, it caused a bit of a furore, a kerfuffle, as it
Yeah,
were.
I hear those Jesus people are really easy to upset.
Yeah. So
All you have to do as a gay person is exist, and
Yeah.
it makes them fucking angry.
do we feel like what's happened with this anti-Muslim, like this little film, like Monty Python's Life of Brian is a movie which is, it's a comedy essentially, but it's also a satire.
Mhm.
It's got these moments that point things out, but it's not it's not going out of its way to be like directly offensive or anything like that. This is not what this anti-Muslim movie's about. This anti-Muslim movie is all about just being totally offensive.
And the Innocence of Muslims was made specifically to piss people off before September 11, to make them as angry as possible, to make Muslims look bad on September 11, and then hopefully make Obama look like a dickhead. But he wrote it out. Obama looked pretty sweet, and Mitt Romney looked like a fool. Like trying to storm in and be like, oh, he can't control the native people. Blah, 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 blah. Mitt Romney looks like a fool. But with Life of Brian, it was a satire of religion and also the left in the UK at the time, which was, and
It was
still
a
is
social
today,
commentary.
constantly splitting about nothing
Yeah.
and splitting hairs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't specifically made like this is going to get Christians really fucking angry. It was made because it's a topical issue at what was at the time, and it was well written.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was specifically made like they got together and said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to piss some people off, and then we're going to use their anger to fuel our agenda.
Yeah.
And if that means smearing 1 billion or 2 billion or so people, then so be it. Which
So
is fucked up.
what's the big reason that people are getting pissed off about it though? Like,
Obviously, the bad production values. I mean, they're insane. I was riding in the streets when I saw the green screen backdrops that they just threw in and the terrible acting. It's revolting. It's disgusting.
I'm sure, the awkward cuts must have made some people very upset.
Man, I'm an editor. That's my job. Just appalling editing. 1 star. It's Margaret and David didn't like it either. Ridiculous film. Just don't go out and watch it.
You know what's fucked up for me? Every time I go onto YouTube, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I know like Google and Facebook and that, they mine your data so they can advertise for you better. Like, for example, when I log onto Facebook, there's a whole lot of stuff about Israel, like on the sidebars advertising, come travel in Israel, and the other one's about the Victorian police. Become a Victorian police officer.
What do you do on your
I must be
computer?
linking to like a lot of news articles about the Israel-Palestine conflict and about the police, and so suddenly it's like, oh, he mentions these things, he wants to travel. Whenever I go onto YouTube, the first video on the main page is the Innocence of Muslims. I'm like, why are you telling me this movie's here?
And the FBI
are you trying to
watching
hint something
you.
to me?
Yeah, the FBI looking at everyone who's been watching this filming. We're going to get this guy.
This
we're going
guy
to get
and
this
this
guy.
guy.
And this guy in Australia is dead. So, good work, Andy.
Andy's going to get screwed out of this, isn't he?
He is, Andy.
Oh,
the
poor
guy.
Andy. He's going to have the police kick
Look,
in
he
the
couldn't
door.
be. I don't know this Andy guy, but he chose to be with his girlfriend. It's like I haven't seen her for a month. I'm going to go and see her. Fuck that, A month and a day, You don't screw over the podcast for a girl.
unbelievable. You know what? I've actually got.
What have you got? Have you got the Innocence of Muslims right here with
No.
us?
I've
Ladies and
got,
gentlemen,
I've got a
Prophet
video
Muhammad.
that I recorded of him, just explaining what was going to be happening today, and I've got a little response for him. So just bear with me.
Well,
one
you
sec.
find that, and I was just going to mention the main thing that I wrote a couple of things down. Where's your phone?
I don't know. I'll be back.
All right. The main thing that I found annoying is when a big news article like this happens, everybody starts to go, here's what I think about the situation. But geopolitics is fucking hard. What do 3 white Australian guys really know about the Middle East?
Everything, obviously. We're white. We're middle class. I've never been to the Middle East, but I've read about it on the internet and I hear it's sandy, and that kind of makes me an expert, if you know what I'm saying. So I feel that I should be able to solve all their problems.
Of course.
You know?
Go in there and civilize the savages.
Exactly.
And that was sarcasm. Don't fucking email me.
Don't
now.
don't take up arms.
Corey Minardi's out there now saying, that John makes a lot of sense. I like that guy.
What I find fucked up is that people looked at the protest that happened when they stormed the Libyan compound, and they went, see, all of these Muslims are all exactly alike together, blah, blah, blah. Not realizing that, just like in society, there's the extreme right, there's middle class, there's, lefties, there's progressives, there's all that fun stuff. Here's what happened a couple of days ago, okay?
Right.
Friday after prayers in Libya, 30,000 people marched from the main lake in Benghazi, I think that's how it's pronounced, to the compound of Ansar al-Sharia, which is one of the main militia groups in that area, who probably were the ones that killed Chris Stevens. 30,000 of them marched to their compound and took it over. That's fucking awesome. Just marched in and said, fuck militia, fuck you guys, you're ruining our country, we want democracy, this is our building now. And took it over. That is fucking cool. But that was I read that on the Daily Mail's website and the Washington Post, but that doesn't get nearly
weird.
as much traction as...
Can't you just hear Pamela Geller saying they're not really Muslims, are
yes,
they?
no.
They're not killing people. They're fake Muslims. I believe is her theory on that. So
as someone who's not religious, it does really frustrate me occasionally when someone who is religious gets more upset about the burning of a book rather than the burning of people, which does happen across all religions. But one thing that I also did some digging and found out that people go, well, why is no one protesting about the bloodshed in Syria besides the Syrians? It's like, actually, people from the Middle East have actually gone to Syria to fight with the Free Syrian Army from all over. Some of them are Islamists, some of them are secular socialists and whatnot, just looking to take down Assad. And what I learned was really cool was that in Egypt, this year alone, Egyptian protesters have stormed and taken over the Syrian embassy. Like 3 times. You know how hard it is to take down an embassy? That's not just like the local police, that's also like the army. And fucking, they make sure that's like a sovereign space. You're not supposed to just cross into that territory. So for civilian population to storm the building takes a lot of fucking effort. You can't sneeze at that. When was the last time any of us stormed an embassy?
Oh, well, I tried to when I was living in Canberra. I just walked down Embassy Lane and I said, you guys, I'm coming in. And they just went, no. And they had guns. I didn't have a gun, and that's why I went wrong.
I've been outside embassies before with like signs like, boo, you're doing something wrong. And a cop goes, please stand on the sidewalk. And I go, oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
And I fucking panic. But let alone like just storming 3 times in 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot more people than just, 1, 2
Yeah,
guys.
true.
That's
It's not
the
just
thing,
me
yeah.
and,
Yeah. Yeah, so
Did you find the clip?
yes, I did. I tracked down the clip, and so I was saying to Andy, hey, by the way, this is a thing. Oh, look, let me just show it to you, because it explains it all. Hey all, the sound quality of the video is pretty unbearable, so through the magic of post-production editing, I'm able to spare you people, the listeners at home, from the 2 minutes and 33 seconds of torture that are inflicted upon John and Evan. You can thank me later. And now, back to the studio.
I've got to say, it's still better shot than Innocence of Muslims.
And sound
Just about as entertaining.
sound quality better?
No.
Oh,
The sound quality is pretty poor.
yeah.
But, okay, your computer turned off. We're still recording?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just...
For a second, I was like, I thought we'd lost that gold of...
No.
For 20 years now, computers have had the ability to go to sleep and just go to the screensaver but still be working behind it. So
I struggled for years trying to make... Like, I couldn't... Something was wrong. Maybe it was the version of the Adobe that I had, where if anything like popped up on the screen, it would just stop. It would just go, you know what? No, fuck it. If you don't want to give me all your attention, there's the door. Which, funnily enough, is, I think, what Andy's girlfriend said, which is why he's not here today.
Good link.
Yeah.
I like what you did there.
You like that?
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, do I want to go classy or do I want to be like, Andy's doing the bad thing? Ooh.
No, let's not talk about what Andy's doing right now. It's just...
Let's talk about how
it's just
naked Andy
gross.
is
smearing
right now.
himself in butter.
Oh,
You
he's
know-
not smearing himself in butter.
Andy is naked right now.
No,
with
he's not.
A heroic erection.
No, oh, for fuck's sake.
He's
no.
hanging a towel on it.
But
you
why
know?
is it... Why is he
many inches long.
Ah, I feel a bit sick.
Drink more beer.
No.
You'll feel better.
No, I'm not gonna... Look, let's move on. Let's not think
Moving
about...
on.
Let's not think about Andy's erections anymore. Okay?
Well, look, I'll think about it, but you just keep talking.
Okay, you think about it. Are you okay to think
I'm
about it?
down with it. I've been thinking about it for years.
Ah. Stop thinking about it. you and me, we're not friends anymore.
Oh,
after
man.
this little like
Looks
you can
like
hang
it's
out.
just you and me, dude, whose name I don't know.
This is the sound of 1,000 iPods shutting off right now.
It's all right. We can edit later.
Oh man. Anyway, what were we talking about? What was going on?
Well, we were talking about the Muslim thing, and
Oh, that thing.
Oh, that
yes.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
still going.
it's only a small thing, but like you're talking about all the action and stuff that's happening in Syria and Libya. What about the protests in places like Sydney?
Yeah, that was a mixed bag of fucked upness. I was just saying before, like, it's ridiculous the three of us as white men talking about. Let's say about the Middle East. We're from Australia. We've never.
Oh,
we can tell you.
we're in
Which
privileged
does happen,
positions.
but it's also fucked up when you've got so many different groups, like the radical left in Australia, and the various Muslim groups that are more middle class, and then also the ones that are a bit more to the right, a bit more extreme. They've all got their own take on it, and the police force as well have their own take of what happened that day. And I've just seen so many people coming out and just speaking in absolutes, where some of the left is like, the cops are always in the wrong and the Muslims are always right. And I've got other people in the Muslim community that are like, well, most people were there peacefully, and a few Salafists and Wahhabis fucked it up. And some are like, oh, we were provoked, and some are like, there was no provoking at all. It was just those guys trying to hijack our peaceful protest, and
Just a big clusterfuck.
a big clusterfuck with everybody just kind of shouting at once. What's happening? And it's a really emotional thing, obviously. So, fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
I obviously, yeah, peaceful protest is really important, and it's clear that I think 50%. There's a poll done. I'm sure it was reputable, but I can't think of the name, so don't take it at face value. Just like the racism levels in in Sydney, where they have the large Muslim community, are really, really intense.
Yeah.
And that seems to happen every time a new migrant group comes into the area. Like, you go back in time, everybody hated the Italians, and then everybody hated the Greeks, and then everybody hated the Vietnamese, and
And
then
don't forget the Irish.
Before then, of course, the Irish.
Those cunts. Hate those guys.
In the 20s in America, there was so much anti-Catholic bigotry where they're all terrorists, and they won't integrate, and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
it's the same.
And you would agree that history has proved me right. Look at them with their Catholic churches and Catholic marriages. I mean, they just don't stop being Catholic. It's
Oh,
appalling,
no.
When will it end?
How can we trust that Tony Abbott? I
No.
hear he's a Catholic.
Jesuit.
Destroying the
It was
airwaves
disturbing.
with their cores and their U2s and their fucking...
You too? That's not surprising. That makes sense. It's all coming together now.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed the cause.
The cores, you did? I don't know.
Maybe
Like,
just goes that
it was-
young and that kind of radio-friendly...
it was pretty...
I liked them when I was 10, but you know what? I was a fucked up little shit when I was 10, and I didn't have any taste in anything. So
So what's
it's
the...
amazing I would like the cause. Really. I hate them now, obviously.
You hate them now, but you like
Yeah.
them then.
Yeah, because I was 10. I just listened to radio. Oh, this is the thong. Oh my god, I like this thong. I didn't know what it was,
It's on the radio, it's been played 20 times. I must like it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I know it.
I know it. It's in my
Yeah.
head. That why would they play it if it wasn't good?
Yeah.
And there's a
That's how radio
rumour.
works.
There's a rumour that Bono slept with all the chicks in the band.
Yeah.
Did you know that rumour?
I didn't know that
You
rumor.
do now. I'm just spreading this rumour.
Why-
So defamation.
You and
warning,
you're
but,
anti-Irish. This is what this is.
Oh,
You're
here
bringing
it
him
comes
down.
out again, isn't it?
Yeah, I just
Bringing out the anti-Irish bigotry.
I just never stop ranting about the Irish. I've got blogs on the internet. I mean, they just keep immigrating over here. They've got no money. The country's broke because nobody wants potatoes anymore. So they all come over here. They take my job,
Yeah.
which I have a job.
Your job.
If they could take
well,
my
your job
job,
writing
they
Life
would.
of Brian scripts that accidentally already exist. Oops.
Yeah, exactly. But
Take
I
my
haven't-
job, eat my
I haven't seen the
potatoes.
Life of Brian, so it's okay. But
We've actually got more Irish and English as well backpackers living illegally in Australia, and I think I probably met most of them working at the hostel.
Yeah.
The amount that I'm like, I've been at the hostel almost 3 years now, and you've been here about the same amount of time, and I'm pretty certain you came here on a
6
1 year
month visa.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're still here. I get the feeling you're hiding from immigration and living in a share house. Yeah,
Ah, well, it's a thing to do. It's cool. It's hip to do that.
it's a cool hip thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
hide from immigration. Yeah, we've
Yeah,
all been
yeah,
around-
we've all
been
been
around
around
the stage,
immigration.
haven't we?
That old chestnut.
Mm.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are tainted by, well, not so much tainted, but having the veil taken away, and you realizing how shit something actually is when, as an adult, as opposed to being a child, you and your cause.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, TV shows. Like when you're a kid, like you sit down, like you come home from school after a long day of being behind a desk and not learning anything because you're a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you learn anything when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I learned heaps of stuff.
What sort of stuff did you learn?
Most of my anti-Irish sentiments.
Oh,
Like,
it's-
Oh, yeah.
I had a very eccentric teacher.
Oh, right, yeah. So, you come home from school and you sit down in front of the TV and you watch 4 hours of television.
There would be a lot of stuff. I remember as a kid, like, Saturday morning, Nicktoons, they had, like, a bunch of, like, 3 hours worth of Nicktoons in a row. That was the shit.
Yeah.
But I think that
For
would
those
kill
of
me
us
now.
who didn't have Foxtel and had to watch Saturday Disney, you know, like pretty much probably the same shows. But yeah, I understand what you're talking about. And gee, does anyone remember Captain Planet? We were talking about that one before.
Captain Planet
what
is...
a pile of puke that was.
No, Captain Planet is one of those things that I feel it gets too much. People get on Captain Planet. I love Captain Planet. I was on
but
Facebook.
then you watch it.
Yeah, I was on Facebook the other day, and you know how they have those, people like this show, whatever.
Yeah.
At 500,600, like...
I think it's got that kitschy appeal because it was like an eco-friendly, blah, 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 before
Brainwashing.
being green was a legitimate thing that people care about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been like, oh, I remember that from back in the day. Yeah. Whereas if it was something like jogging, like it was a show about how great jogging is.
Captain Jogging.
Captain-
That would be the worst show ever, you know. Oh God, that guy's walking. We'd better put our rings together and make him jog. That would be terrible.
There'd be a lot of stuff about fighting cardiovascular disease, a whole lot of stuff about the toned legs.
Axed. One season.
One
you know.
season, then cut off.
Awful. No, but I mean that show was dreadful. They had fire, water, wind, earth, and I think the worst one was heart. Like, who wants to be the little? And the kids have a word for that these days. I don't agree with this word, but the word is fag. Who wants to be a little fag with heart? Nobody does, you know. I need a little monkey, but that doesn't make it any better.
Did he have a monkey?
Yeah,
He had a monkey,
Oh,
and he'd
yeah.
hug it all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
You can kill people with fire. You can murder societies with water. Okay,
You can
can't do
bury things with earth.
You can't do anything with heart. That's no fun. But if the heart wasn't there for Captain Planet was weaker. That's all I remember. So he kind of brought it all together. But you know what?
It's
kid.
really interesting to see they had that that two-parter episode where the bad guys united to make Captain Pollution.
Ah, dude, I do remember that.
Captain Pollution,
And that was fucking
has
terrible as well.
Aged, man, like he's like radical surfer dude, man, surfing up pollution. It's like that.
Cowabunga.
got old, like halfway through the show.
I think
let
I was
alone
old by the time the show aired. You know?
15 years later, it's so ridiculous. Whereas Captain, okay, he's got a mullet, but whatever. He's still saying, "Hey, look after the planet." Nothing too bad. But this guy's like, "Whoa, man!" I'm like, oh my god.
But
Calm down.
I come home from school. Like I've spent the whole day learning. I come home from school to watch cartoons to relax. I don't want to get taught about shit while I'm relaxing.
You don't know you're being taught. This
Yeah,
is
you
a
don't
lot of
realize. You
action
just think
on.
it's
There are mutants, you know.
Yeah.
But and then he come on the end and just lecture at you. Don't forget to recycle.
Yeah.
I had
You're
a pretty
like,
good
oh,
idea that I was
you-
being lectured at.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's guys like him, Widget the World Watcher. There's another show, The Smoggies, that had that whole this is something that I only remember and you guys don't.
I remember
apparently.
Widget, but
Smoggy.
I don't remember the Smoggies.
Smoggy sounds like something you made up to
I-
justify your name.
Basically, it was a story about these creatures that lived on a boat and they were called the Smoggies, and they'd just ride around on their boat and it would spew forth pollution.
Yeah.
And they'd be
Awful.
little creatures that lived in the sea. They'd be like, "Fuck you, Smoggies." I think that was an entire season. That's how it worked.
Terrible television.
I watched Our Real Monsters the other day. I used to love that show, and I'm like, this is not what I remembered it to be.
Yeah. What was it?
Nice.
What was it like? What was
I was just bored out. Like nothing happening here. Oh, they're gonna run around and scare some people.
annoying
the
voices,
weird-
bad animation?
Yeah, annoying voices. The weird androgynous teacher is the punchlines. He's in women's shoes and he yells.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna yell at someone. And he's gonna yell at someone again. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But then you look at Rocko's Modern Life, which is just as fucked up and weird as it used to be.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I think as a kid you saw it and you were like, oh, that's weird and silly. When an adult, you kind of watch it and go, that's pretty.
You go,
fucking-
that's I can't believe
strange
they're
and
showing
surreal.
that to children.
Yeah,
It's a very dark show.
Yeah.
It's very depressing, I think.
I think as an adult, you're kind of like, I understand this now. Whereas Our Real Monsters is just
Bunch of shit that
monster
happens.
children running around. which just describes children anyway, monsters.
What about things like Voltron? You guys see Voltron?
Vaguely. It was
okay.
that one where they'd ride around on dinosaurs? Or
No,
something?
that was probably Dino Riders.
Oh, God. Of course, they're riding around on dinosaurs. We're going to call it Dino Riders.
Yeah.
How could I not see
Yeah,
that
and
one?
Transformers, what they do?
Which
They
one was
transform.
Voltron? There's something weird. shit.
Voltron was like a bunch of lions. And
Oh,
they
that's
come
the
together.
one, yeah. Well,
It was a
it's all the same,
precursor
isn't
to like Power Rangers.
It's all the same show, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's people are big coloured things.
Yeah.
Because little autistic kids can't, they can't listen to dialogue. They just like the bright colours flashing around. And little autistic kids like me used to love those shows. So.
Yeah, but they you know how everything got all sort of PC and watered down in the mid 90s and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you had
know,
to learn a lesson,
yeah.
didn't you?
Back in the early 90s, late 80s, like all the things would be bright colours. They'd like Transformers and Voltron and things. They'd all have sharp edges and that sort of thing. So you get the bright colours and the loud noises, but it'd all have sharp edges. People kept hurting themselves on these toys, and then as it goes through like to mid 90s, we start getting PC and we get the Teletubbies. Soft, round, not going to poke your eye out with that. But the
Different
kids still love
market,
it.
though. I mean,
Yeah, that's like
Teletubbies
toddlers.
were being made for like 12-year-old autistic kids. They're made for like 2-year-olds.
They made for like babies and toddlers and stuff. It wasn't necessarily like.
Maybe was it just me that was into?
Maybe you
Teletubbies?
just.
I
Maybe
think
you
so.
regressed. Everyone got older, and you were like, "I'm going backwards."
Oh man.
I remember getting like bitter and jaded towards cartoons as I was moving out of the cartoon for like 15 or something, maybe 16. So I don't want to watch kids shows anymore. But still kind of think, yeah, Rugrats. I used to like that because you had that thing of nostalgia, but you were getting older, so you couldn't enjoy the shows anymore, especially if they were making new ones. Like, oh, they're never as good as they used to be. Not realizing you're just getting older. There's a show called Rocket Power. I fucking hated. There was nothing cool about it. There was like these radical kids,
Oh,
man.
that's right.
They
During
don't
this-
want to go to school. They just want to skateboard and surf.
During
That
the
sounds awesome.
extreme sport
Yeah,
craze that
exactly.
happened about 2000, everyone's Tony Hawking down the street,
Yeah.
and they thought, oh, well, that's popular.
There's
We're
nothing-
going to base a show on it now.
Everyone's wearing hats and
Cowabunga,
wallet
dude.
chains.
It was putting like
I'm going to bust an ollie.
spelling stuff extreme and then putting the X in capital, like a big capital right in the
Yeah,
middle
yeah,
and
yeah.
then jagged edged. And I'm just watching this Rocket Power show and they just goofed off in class and then they just, I guess maybe solve mysteries somehow. Like something would happen and they'd figure it out while skateboarding. I'm like, this is some bullshit.
Somebody's been stealing from the skateboard store again. Oh, how are we going to capture these guys? It's really the Poochie thing, isn't it, from The Simpsons? They don't know. They don't know who they're marketing to. They just sort of, it's a committee that's going, we've got to give him glasses, we've got to have the backwards hat, he's got to be, extreme.
Uh-huh.
And you wind up with something like Rocket
Kids will love
Power.
this, and kids just don't understand what the hell they're getting, exposed to.
And Morgan's just there going, man, I wish I was watching Teletubbies right now.
I kind of do. Yeah.
It's a chilling drama that I...
Who's going to get to show the belly screen this week? I wonder though, because I don't know, it's difficult. If I was suddenly born tomorrow and I grew up with the crap that they're on TV now, would I be in 20 years' time making the same arguments we're making?
Absolutely,
Of course.
absolutely.
Goes without saying.
It's just
As you get older, nostalgia is, it's
the drug.
It's something that just happens. Like things weren't actually better back in the old days. They were just different.
Some might argue they were worse. I mean, for our kind of generation, they used to create TV shows and then they base the toys on the show. But we were kind of the first generation. They would create the toy first, and then to market the toy, they create the show that way. And some might argue that's actually a more destructive way of creating.
That's really fucking dodgy.
manipulating children.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's a cool toy and here's a show about
I mean, that's almost stuff like Voltron and Dino Riders were almost certainly created that way.
Absolutely,
They
yeah.
thought, oh, how are we going to market this kids? Television shows, and then some poor guy's got to write it and animate it.
Yeah, and they don't even know. Like they get given the brief of they're from space and they ride dinosaurs. What the fuck am I trying to do with this? How am I supposed to get a narrative into this? Yeah,
Look, as long as you
Just
sell them
crib
right
it
up.
from Shakespeare's what
Yeah.
they normally did. Oh, that's just Macbeth. That's what I'd say all the time when I was a kid. Here we go, Hamlet. Lion King. Lion.
here we go.
As
Except
long as
this
you sell the
time they've got
products.
laser swords.
Sell the chocolate bars and the whatever else it was.
Yeah.
People could go down to McDonald's and get their fucking Happy Meal with the little toy that, then everyone's happy.
Do they still do the Happy Meal toy thing? I don't really
It's
do
one of those things
McDonald's
where, because I
anymore,
don't have
so-
kids and I'm not a kid myself, knowing that kind of information would be unnecessary.
Yeah. Okay.
So
fair enough.
I'm never going to need to know.
I don't know. Like,
Maybe my sister has babies one day, I might have to find out. But apart from that, it's just like a compartment of my brain I've just closed the door on because I don't think I'll ever have to go
I
down.
haven't bought myself a Happy Meal for 3 or 4 years, so I
Yeah.
don't really know.
I haven't bought a Happy Meal for I don't know. Like,
Last time I ate McDonald's, I freaked myself out because I had a cheeseburger. I hadn't eaten it for a while. I'm like, I'm going to have a cheeseburger. It's going to be great. Like 2 years ago. And I munched into it, and I got like, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, oh, this is greasy and gross. I haven't eaten it for a while, I feel sick, so that was the end of it.
Yeah.
The next day, I'm on a tram somewhere, and we go with the tram bumps, and we move a bit. At the same time, I burp.
Yeah.
And when I burp, I get the taste and smell and sensation of the hamburger back in my mouth again.
Yeah.
I'm like, if there is that many preservatives and bullshit in this burger that a full day later, with all the stomach acid doing its thing, I can burp and still have the exact, like it's just been in my mouth, that's not good.
Yeah. Like, I still do the McDonald's thing, but it's usually at a time when everything's blurry, you know?
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah,
you've dulled your senses to the point where
Yeah.
you can take it.
I'll stomp in.
Not
I'll
making
go,
good choices at that point, are you?
no, I'm not making good choices, and like I'm totally aware of that at the time, but I don't care because I'm fucking starving. Anyway, what do you... What?
It's like, and that was brought to you by McDonald's. If you're drunk and out and about...
I feel bad now, yeah. Can we, like... what am I asking you for? I can beep all that.
all
that product placement out,
Look,
yeah.
look, let's just say we're not encouraging you to eat McDonald's. We're saying that you're
I
an
am.
adult and you can make your own choices.
You are.
And
And I encourage you to smoke, whatever you want to do. I don't care what you do. It doesn't bother me.
what happens if someone wants to make the innocence of Muslims? Would you
Well,
encourage them that? Or would you be like, actually, I'd recommend that maybe you don't get some ambassadors killed?
I believe that whatever you do to yourself is fine.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
care what
yeah.
people do, but if you sort of go out there to harm other people, that's another difference.
Okay.
If you go out there to upset people, I mean, that's a complete... if me eating a Big Mac led to the death of, ambassadors in Libya, I might not do it.
Okay, when we can...
Or me smoking a cigarette or a fine cigar. I don't smoke cigars, but if I wanted to...
You wanted to,
led to
yes.
people dying, I wouldn't do it. If I'm just killing myself, whatever. That's my view of things.
That's a good view.
We totally cut you off, Mog. You're trying to move on to the next
I
segment.
was trying to move on to the next segment. Yes, that's right.
I had to get all political.
You had to get all political, that's right. Well, that's...
Damn that Andy May.
Damn him.
Why won't Corey Bernardi let me fuck a cow? What's going on?
I don't know who that is.
Just move on before
Oh, yeah, here we go.
I get really creepy.
All right. Okay, so John, you've been doing stand-up. How long have you been
Allegedly,
doing it now?
about a year.
About
I
a
think
year.
is as long as I started doing it. I started doing it pretty much because I got into screenwriting with Morgan because I'm going to be a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be a good career.
That's a great idea.
I'm going to get a job. And of course, I sort of got out of the course and there were no jobs. And I thought, gee, the only way to sort of get my comedy out there is actually going to perform it myself. So I
Yeah.
thought, I'll go and be a stand-up. So pretty much been doing that for the last year. Seriously now for, I think, for about 6 months.
Yeah.
When I quit my job, I said, no, I used to work nights. I said, no more nights because it was hard for me to do comedy and work at the same time. So, very seriously now, for probably the last 6 months or so, 2 or 3 gigs a week.
2 or 3 gigs a week.
Yeah.
I hear about comedians who get kind of like they understand what their when I say when they understand their audience, they have an idea in their head of what their audience is, and they'll do certain clubs. Are you a club snob, or are you just like fuck it, I'll go anywhere?
I will do anything. Like, I don't care what I do. I've done birthday parties. I've done weddings. I haven't done
How did your Corey Bernardi gear go down in front of the kids at the birthday party?
pretty badly.
You
I
can
mean,
all fuck animals. Fuck them all.
When I brought in the dog, it got pretty creepy, and everyone screamed, and the mothers, ushered me out, and the police came, and
Actually,
it was all very embarrassing.
Maybe
but-
we should clarify for Mog's sake. Corey Bernardi, the liberal politician representative from South Australia,
Right.
made a pretty foul analysis.
Oh, this is the
between,
guy that compared.
same-sex marriage or homosexuality to bestiality. We're saying there was a slippery slope. If we allow gay marriage, people are going to marry their dogs.
Yeah,
And
Dog anus fucking. You
I
didn't-
never even considered that. But now look, yeah.
No.
That's a solid argument, I guess. When I think of the man that I love, I think of why not fuck a dog?
Well,
too?
now I'm thinking about homosexuality so I can get to bestiality.
That's the
Slippery,
link.
slippery slope argument.
But what was really cool was the Liberal Party turned against him. They didn't back up his statements. They were like, actually,
It's like,
that's
actually,
fucking
that's
crazy.
fucked.
And
Yeah.
he was supposed to go to the UK to do a talk about free market economics or whatever Liberal Party douchebags talk about.
Yeah.
At some student, like a young liberals society school, but in the UK. And I'm pretty certain he cancelled his own speech when the Tory party in the UK were like, no, we support same-sex marriage.
We don't support dog fucking.
And we don't like the link that you made. So he can pretty much ostracized and made himself a pariah,
Yeah.
which is good because he's an idiot. And
Did
that
he-
kind of attitude's fucking stupid.
Did he resign?
He resigned from the, working really close with Tony Abbott. He's now going to
he was
focus on
secretary
his...
of Tony Abbott. Now he's still in the party, unfortunately. He's still a member of parliament. But,
And now he's going to focus on South Australia, which means he's going to keep his head low. He's going to keep his bullshit opinions to himself and his
No,
close
he's not.
buddies for a bit. For a bit.
Corey
He's
Bernardi, he's,
gonna-
notorious. He's one of those just loud mess. He runs a whole bunch of websites. He's funded this thing called Menzies House, which
Oh,
is like
Christ.
this incredible incredibly stupid right-wing blog. He started up like this right-wing version of Get Up called Can Do. And it's terrible. And of course, only he and his friends use it, but he's trying to use all those sort of Tea Party methods.
Yeah.
But it's so incredibly obvious what he's doing, just nobody but the stupidest young liberal from Bond University is buying this shit.
But you think he's actually going to say another stupid statement in a week's time?
Oh, absolutely. He never goes away. He's one of those people. He's so far to the right, and his opinions are so out of step with most ordinary people that he'll keep his head down. He's done this before with Muslims. He'll keep his head down, but then he'll do it again. He'll be asked for his opinion, and he'll open his mouth and
He'll fart into the microphone. That's what I think.
pretty much.
People should stop talking to him. Just
People should stop fucking voting for him. If he's democratically elected,
put him in a box.
That's terrifying.
He's the number one ticket, for the Liberals in South Australia.
Is it a safe
unfortunately.
seat? Like, they just keep winning regardless, or they put him in
Well,
charge?
basically, if you vote Liberals in South Australia, you're voting for this guy
Alright.
in the Senate. So if people are voting Liberals, he's getting the vote. So it's up to the Liberal Party, I think, to disendorse him, but they're not going to do that
No.
for whatever reason. If he's number one, at least knock him down a few pegs. But they seem to like him.
They're going to keep him on even though they disagree with him.
Maybe they can put Angry Anderson in the seat.
That
Angry
sounds
Anderson.
fantastic. Yeah. No,
Oh God, retards! I thought they're getting Angry Anderson for Parliament would be a good idea.
To be fair, he was going to run for national ticket, I think, but
Well, I think he's planning on it too. We really at a dearth for political talent that we're turning to Angry Anderson to tell us what to think. It's
well,
bizarre.
you never
Yeah,
know though.
I fucking liked him in Rose Tattoo.
Yeah, but he might.
He does not going to let us fuck dogs.
Yeah.
I'm voting for him.
He might do like the whole turnaround thing, like Peter Garrett did. He's got this whole image of real party,
rebel rock star,
and that sort of thing. And then he's go into Parliament and then just 180 it, and he's just gonna be the most green kind of guy that you. It might happen.
I laughed when the Australian Sex Party released stuff about, because they're all about drug, well, one of their main things is drug decriminalisation, and they put a thing out to Angry Anderson and Peter Garrett saying, you know what, when you did live gigs, a lot to most of your audience was on drugs at the time, and they had a great time, and they gave you lots of money. So how about you show them some respect by campaigning to decriminalise drugs?
Yeah.
And Angry Anderson and Peter Garrett completely ignored it, which is unsurprising.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, they're the sex party, so I think most people ignore them. They do love the attention, don't they? They love media attention. They're very good at it, I found.
Well,
The Sex Party, yes.
Yeah, if
very
they
good.
stuck to politics as usual, they'd just be like, they'd get like a 5-minute segment every election cycle on Sky News, and here's one of the wacky silly parties, and they'd be there with a weird hat on. Can you put this weird hat on and spin it, and then we'll give you 30 seconds to promote yourself?
Just do a slide whistle and then.
That's the family first way.
Oh right.
No, this is more of a dog whistle.
No, that's true.
Hey.
Good point. I see what he did there.
Put me on silly. Yeah. Sorry, we cut you off again.
No, that's okay. We're going strong. It's fine. Yeah. So I don't know. Got any gigs coming up?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
Your comedy.
We're
Sorry,
talking
that,
about
like how
comedy bullshit. The Fringe Festival is coming up.
Okay. Have you got a show?
Do we all love the Fringe Festival?
Well.
No, I don't have a show because I didn't realise it would be on. But I have been asked to do a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm doing this thing called 100% Nuts, which is at Bridie O'Reilly's. It's a sort of a group show
All
put
right.
on by a guy called Damien Snell. So he puts on comedians he likes. We'll go have a lot of fun. It was very successful during the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it again. I'm also doing some stuff for the Station 59. They're having kind of a big fringe show, and I'm doing some stuff down there for them too. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Right O'Reilly's, is that on Sydney Road?
That is the Brunswick.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sydney Road,
crazy good times down there.
Oh,
so
they're
come and
Brady.
see it.
Okay, so Brady O'Reilly's in Paran as well. I thought you meant that one.
Oh no, the one in Brunswick.
Okay, all right.
Corner at Sydney Road and Brunswick Road.
Traditional Irish pub. It's been there for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's you can tell.
It's real.
Yeah.
So it's not faking it.
We've given directions to all the international listeners, especially the ones in North Korea. You got a strong following in North Korea.
In North Korea?
Yeah, it's really you
Who
guys.
told you that?
Well, the Potato Revolution is. Oh wait, no, it's different. I was confusing Jewish ideology and the Korean Revolution with Potato Revolution. I'm sorry.
Textbook, Evan.
Yeah. Geopolitics is hard, man.
I don't know. I'm one of those people that, when people start talking about politics, and it's, kind of funny because you guys are in here, getting all into it, and I'm just like, in a daze. I just don't care enough about politics to, get on the board. Get on the board.
Get on the board.
I can't even
on
care.
the soundboard.
Apparently don't even care enough to talk properly either.
to get
so.
words right.
Yeah.
So do you find, and I'm moving my focus
Yeah, let's
as
do
Andy
it.
May away from Mog. So do you find doing the comedy that you've done like 3 times a week, that you're writing more as well? Or do you find that you had all this stuff that you'd written anyway, and now you've got an outlet for it? Or is it
not
actually
really?
like,
Look, I don't sort of sit down and go, oh, gee, I've got to write comedy, If I sort of come up with an idea,
Yeah.
then I kind of develop it. But at the same time, what you have to do is also work on the material you have, because it never works perfectly. The
Yeah,
first
totally.
one, very rarely. So you've got to go back and then sort of do it again and again and see different ways of doing jokes, different punchlines. So it can be a bit slow. Sometimes I write something, I might not sort of debut it for a couple of months or
Yeah.
something while I'm getting the other stuff right. So, you know, at this point, I've probably got 20 minutes of good material, which is about normal for a comedian, I think. So, you know, we're looking at a show. I'm thinking about doing the comedy festival next year. I haven't decided, but yeah, we'll see what
would you
happens.
do a full hour, or would you split it with someone?
I do 50 minutes. I might do a split show with
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
You know, if someone. That's how a lot of comedians start out as well. They might get 2 or 3 people and
Yeah.
just do 20 minutes each or half an hour each. So
Just do the good stuff they've
Exactly.
got, and then stretch it out.
Haven't you done one before?
no. Oh well, I did do a comedy show at the comedy festival. Thanks for asking.
That's
Yay.
Heaps funny, as many of our listeners will know, took Melbourne by storm during the comedy festival. You know, there were just outstanding ticket sales. There were lines outside the door every night. People just couldn't get enough of this show.
Well,
that
there
we
would
did.
have been if they knew where it was.
We did at 6 nights. It was at the Butterfly Club. It was it was an interesting experience. It wasn't a stand-up show, which was it was sketches and songs. And
Okay.
It was meant to be cabaret, but none of us could perform cabaret, so we pretty much came up with this bizarre hybrid of sketches and songs.
Yeah.
And there was some stand-up, and it was a lot of fun. We actually had some pretty good ticket sales. We had a Herald Sun critic come down, and he hated us.
Yeah, that's what it's all
That's
about,
good.
though,
How-
isn't it?
what did
2
he-
stars.
2 stars. Did he
So-
any choice quotes?
Well,
These guys let the refugees in.
Well, pretty much, he got everything wrong. It was bizarre. He got like the details where he got our names wrong. He switched the other 2 guys around. So he said one guy was brilliant. He's a fantastic performer. You know, he's really charismatic. He's a great singer. He's a good musician. And the other guy was just rubbish and looked like a lesbian. And he mixed up the names. So these 2 guys were really upset that their names were mixed up. Because, you know, one of the guys did really well, but he'll forever be published in the Herald Sun as a terrible guy. And the other guy...
Yeah.
Maybe wasn't so good, but he tried. Hope he doesn't hear this. You know, Herald is fantastic at the Herald Sun. So,
Well-
you know, it was bizarre. And I didn't get mentioned at all. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I went.
I-
I
you've
just
probably
wasn't in the review.
you've probably done all right then,
Yeah.
because you know they'll the tall poppy syndrome. They'll say the guys at the top, and they'll go, "That guy's that shit." So if you're somewhere in the middle, you've probably done
I
it.
was just middling. Just didn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
remember me. So.
I'm keen to see though with the Herald Sun and with the News Limited's history of stuff. It's gonna be really hard to get a retraction, obviously, and then you probably get your phone hacked.
Well, yeah, you can't retract reviews, unfortunately. It's very difficult to retract that guy's opinion. You know? Is he saying, oh, no.
Even if it is demonstratively wrong, like I'm clearly not that person. Like this isn't just an opinion. This is objectively incorrect. I have a birth certificate and an ID. I'm not that dude.
It's not
Oh,
me.
you're right. We should have gone to Media Watch. They could have done 15 minutes on getting the identities wrong. They could have picked it apart word for word. It would have been glorious.
Just want to see Jonathan Holmes go ho 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 and look at the camera.
He would have raised an eyebrow and you know, thousands of
There would have
people
been so much
just would have
smugness.
frozen.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Going, oh yes, yeah.
Oh yes, very good.
Yeah,
Wicked.
it's the Herald Sun. Yes.
Good old fucking News Limited.
Yeah. So you've taken a step back from
Yeah,
the
I've
microphone.
done pretty much sweet fuck all comedy wise. But I've started going around to venues again just to kind of sit and watch and kind of get involved to see if, and it kind of makes me want to get up and do stuff again.
Don't. There's enough of us.
Ah, what if I open a room then? Then what would happen?
That'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what
we
I
need more
thought.
of
Then-
that.
And you'd come running over.
Exactly.
Evan, buddy.
Can I have a gig?
Yeah.
Please give me a gig.
No, there's definitely just going to gigs and hanging out with comedians and watching them do stuff makes me then go, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, just getting involved in it again makes you want to do it, but I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it just feels good to hang out, and maybe I'll feel inspired to get back up on stage again, or maybe I'll just enjoy just hanging out and, you know, sit in my room with my guitar, and that's about it. And the podcast.
And let life happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the podcast going?
Started season 3 again, which was fun. Took me 9 hours to upload the last episode because the internet kept cutting out, which was fucking awesome. I was so, you know, that moment where you're like, I'm gonna do something and accomplish it today.
Yes.
And usually that follows with a couple hours on Facebook, and then read the news, and you do some meal, make dinner, and then nothing happens.
Don't forget masturbating.
Of course. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. And so I did it. I recorded it, uploaded it, I got it all together, uploaded. And then I went to put it on the website, and the internet, every 15 minutes, would cut out for about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And that was all it took for it to stop.
For it to lose them.
And there was no pause feature. It was just a matter of...
Keep trying again.
Yeah. And what I found worked, though, was when it went to screensaver, it would somehow pause. It would, whenever the internet would cut out.
So you put a 10-second screensaver
yeah,
on it?
And I just left my computer. And then I had to, when I went to bed, I had to put the laptop next to the bed on the floor and let it happen overnight.
Yeah.
And then I'd be nervous, and I'd push the mouse, or let the mouse pad on the, and then go, oh, it's up to 77%. And then the internet would cut out. I'm like, oh, don't be tempted. Just let it happen. Let it do its thing. And so 9 hours later, it was up. So the next one's due tomorrow. So I have to get on that.
Fantastic. Anything that we need to be aware of to do it?
For instance, the name of the podcast and how or where we can listen to it.
Well played, sir.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, yes, my name is Evan and I have a podcast. Ha, ha.
No,
Just tell
I
us.
feel, I was just thinking like podcasting, talking about your podcast, I always feel like I'm cool to masturbate anywhere if I'm allowed to.
Wonderful.
But I always
What?
feel...
Just take that, that's okay for you to do
It's
that.
the same with podcasts.
I'm not.
If someone tells me, you can wank whenever you want here, I'm like, okay, I'll go for it. Same with podcasting. Unless someone says, what is the name of the show, I always feel like I've got my dick out and everyone's staring at me. Does that
What you
make
do?
sense?
Why have you done that?
Well, I'm thinking of Andy again, and his
Oh,
giant
right.
erection holding a tea towel.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what is the
show's
name?
called show's called Left and Correct. It's me interviewing smart and or funny people about issues. Coming up sometime on the show will be anti-apartheid activist from the 70s, John Minto. He's badass. Also, Afghan politician Malalai Joya. She's had about 8 death threats on her life, or 8 attempts of death on her life.
Is that
Since
all?
she came back, yeah, is
Wow.
that all? I know. Since she came out against the Taliban and the warlords in 2003,
Yeah.
that's going to be badass. And maybe I'll even have Ted Revolution back again to kind of balance it out, because I feel when you've had an Afghan politician, you've got to
It's
have...
true, you've got to have the serious stuff, don't you? You just bring the gravitas to
Yeah.
enough of this wacky Afghan stuff. We're
Yeah.
going to have them all go.
Enough about...
You've just got to bring the professionalism of this show.
One of the coolest things with John Minto was talking to him about when the anti-apartheid activists stormed the All Blacks versus the Springboks rugby game in New Zealand.
Yeah.
They stormed the field and wouldn't let anyone play because they were in the way, and the police came and the crowd screaming, fuck, imagine like 30,000 sports fans yelling at, I don't know, 100 anti-apartheid activists on the field, and then a plane starts swooping overhead, dropping balls of flour on the field and just ruining the game. You would never see that nowadays at any political action. You could never fly a fucking plane over a protest and drop flour bombs.
Yeah.
You can't fly a plane anywhere these days.
I can't even fly a plane.
But just hearing stories like that, you're like, wow, man, things were different in the 70s. Fucking hell.
They were a crazy time.
Well, I think we've spoken for just enough time. That's all good. Thank you, John, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Morgan, for giving me the wrong address to your house.
Oh,
I be walking up and down the street like a moron.
Yeah, so
looking
apparently-
for this address.
apparently
Yeah, it
I've
exists.
given both of these guys the address of my work.
I ended up at a video store. It was very surprising.
Yeah, so
Up at a church.
Hey, double whammying, are ya? A bit of the old holy book and holy fucking Bible?
they're across the road from each
Oh,
other.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't... Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that bigger. Yeah.
Well, never mind.
But yeah, and then I just saw him casually walking past my house, and I was just like,
Casually,
dude,
I was panicking.
I did.
Oh my god.
he was so angry.
Yeah, I was pretty angry.
I would have been angry too.
Punched him.
Yeah, he did. See you in court.
Well, let's end this thing.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, Evan.
It's cool. Come to Facebook and then look up Left and Correct. And then if you're an atheist, stop fucking hanging shit on all of the Muslims in the Middle East because you don't know them all.
Just the cunts.
Just the cunts. Yeah, the cunts are there, and you could definitely have a go at the cunts. But there are a few people that are getting caught up and bombed and killed. That maybe you should give them some. You know what? Maybe just ask an expert about it and say, you know what? I watched Q&A. Let me tell you what I think about. And no, don't bother. Just sit back and you know what? Maybe I don't know everything about it. Let's watch it unfold.
And yeah, come and see 100% Nuts in the Fringe
Yes.
Festival. Or I'll get Corey Bernardi to come and fuck your dog.
Is there anywhere that we can find you on the
on
internet?
the internet, you can't find me because I just have my Facebook page. You can add me. I probably won't accept you. But
Yeah,
You're not on Twitter?
if you, I'm not on Twitter. No.
Oh, man.
But if you want to look up 100% Nuts on Facebook, you'll find me. If you type in 100% Nuts in a little search bar, and you can like
You've
the
got a page.
and
Yeah,
all the
you-
details will come up, and tell you everything about it.
How long's the gig on for? Like a week, couple weeks or something?
Yeah, I think for the entire Fringe Festival. So
Oh, look, I'm sure everyone listening to this that's in Melbourne can at least make one fucking day to make it.
I think so. I think if we don't get like 10,000, I don't know how many people show. I'm just
Oh,
conservative. 10,000 people should come to the.
That's
To our show.
probably ballpark. Yeah, I think that's good.
They could fit, you my dick jokes, and everyone will go home happy.
If you write for the Herald Sun, feel free to come along and just make up shit because that's
That's what they do anyway.
Pretty much what you first class did.
All right, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. I've been Mog.
I've been Andy Maymay.
Andy Maymay has not been here. Will you stop confusing the people at home? Because every time you say that, they
Yeah,
go,
true.
"Oh, that's Andy.
True.
Andy's here." He's not here, guys. He's not
not
here. Okay, time to wrap it up. See you later. Yeah, so that wasn't so bad.
Oh, I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure
Don't
after that.
spoil the magic. We just listened to the whole thing. just then.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I totally
What
just
did you
listened to
think?
the whole-
You thought, wow, you
I
really
thought it was
worked.
amazing. I thought it was the best out of all the things I've listened to. It wasn't one of them, but I will listen to it very soon.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay. Well, which leads us to what did you learn this week?
well, what I've learned this week, there's a few things I've learned. One thing I learned is that living your life on Facebook like an open wound is fucking nauseating to everyone around you. I've got like people on Facebook who are in relationships and whatever, and they're always like, "Hey baby, blah 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 blah." It's like, don't you own a fucking mobile phone? Can you not contact each other with SMS? That was the first part of it. The second
Right.
part of it came towards it's fucking nauseating and infuriating to see. Now, guys don't really do this, but there's a lot of girls on Facebook you'll see do this.
Right.
They'll take a photo of themselves,
Yeah.
pulling like a deliberate pose. It's not like them in a hospital bed going, this is me in hospital because I hurt myself. It's them in their bedroom doing a little pose. They put makeup on before they pose.
Right.
They upload it to Facebook and they have a little caption underneath going, "Oh my God, I'm so sick today. I wish I had some friends, lol." That is doing my fucking head in. And I was catching up with a mate last Friday and she was saying, she brought up an interesting point, which was, at what stage, if you're comfortable with yourself, would you take a photo of yourself when you're by yourself? Like, that's fucking weird behavior. So that got me thinking about the possibility of what happened before Facebook, before the internet.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like a girl or whatever, you go and get your camera. You go to Big W and buy a roll of film. You go home, you load it in the camera, you wind it up, you go in your bedroom, you dress up, put on your makeup, and you take photos of yourself
Use up the
constantly.
whole roll.
Use up the whole roll. Then you go to the chemist, you give them the roll, you wait out the front, you're all excited, you finally go in when they've developed it, you get the roll of film and the photos thereafter, and you go home and you look at it, and you choose the best ones that you want. Later that night, you rock up to a party. Now, before the internet and before Facebook, if you're at a party and someone rocks up with photos they've taken of themselves when by themselves, and they pull out a biro, and they're like, "Do you like it? If you like it, just put a little tick down." You would punch that cunt in the neck straight. Get the fuck out of the house. Get the fuck out of the party. You're never invited ever again.
Why would you punch him in the neck?
Well, I like the idea of punching people in the neck. Maybe to stop them talking shit.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that was one thing I learned.
right.
The other thing I learned was, Jesus Christ. Right, so UFO is essentially an unidentified flying object. Now,
What was that word?
Now, a lot of the times when you see something in the sky you can't explain, we generally
What, like
tend
clouds?
to go, or whatever.
Stars?
Yeah.
There's
Or a
books-
satellite
there's
moving.
books on that stuff.
You know, a satellite.
There's
A
books on that
helicopter from a weird angle or something. Everyone tends to go, aliens! It's the aliens
But
from
if
outer
it's
space.
one of those things that you just said, it's not an unidentified flying object. It's one of those things, which is identifiable.
Yeah, but if you can't identify it
Yeah.
and it's flying, it means it's literally, to you, it's an unidentified flying object. That doesn't mean...
So that means, like, if you're, like, just standing there in the street and you get hit by like a bug in the back of the head, and you can't say that was a wasp that hit me. That's an unidentified flying object.
Yep, totally is. Totally. If someone throws a paper aeroplane past your face and you go, was that an aeroplane or a seagull or was that a bit of rubbish? Or it's an unidentified flying object. So because you see something in the sky,
taking the meaning of that, acronym to its most
basic,
literal sort of,
yeah. Well, and that's what I think it should be. We shouldn't automatically assume little green men flying around.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway,
where are you going with
the
this?
night before the podcast that you just heard, which I was not a part of, which is a Saturday night, I was at my girlfriend's place, just cleaning things up because she was coming back on Sunday from China.
What did you do in there?
You don't want to know. There was blood on the walls.
Oh,
it was
right,
horrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, around about midnight, I went outside for a cigarette. Went outside, and I looked to the left. Just nighttime, stars, whatever. Casually looked to the right, and there's this weird fucking thing zooming through space at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Was it a capsicum on a string that was being dangled from a neighbour upstairs?
Who knows?
Okay.
No, definitely wasn't.
But you said
anyway.
What? Okay, go on.
So, it was very large. It was shaped like an egg. It didn't have any flashing lights or anything attached to it.
Yeah.
And it was this matte grey sort of thing. It wasn't reflecting like a mirror or shiny
Okay,
surface.
so it wasn't like Jeremy Orange or Simon Purple. It was Matt Gray.
Yeah, it was matte grey.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I enjoyed that one.
You did enjoy it. I know you enjoyed it. So anyway, I see this crazy fucking thing moving erratically through the sky and doing weird sharp angle turns and speeding, then slowing down. And I'm like,
geometry in space, that sort of thing.
yeah, well, it was weird. I'm like, the first thing I thought of when I looked at it, I'm like, that is the worst CGI. And then I thought, that's not,
this is real life.
yeah. And I was like, but I'm like, hang on a second. And then the more it flew around, because the moon was quite bright.
Yeah.
The only reason I got a good glimpse of it was because when it flew in the path of the moonlight, like my direction of where the moon is,
Yeah.
I could see the surface of it a lot better. I'm like, that thing is fucking huge. What the hell is it?
How many?
It's too big to be a bird. It's too.
Can I just stop you there and just say how many? And this is inverted commas. Drinks did you have that night?
It's actually none. I just finished vacuuming the house. Anyway, so I see this thing move, and it goes right up to the tip of the skyline almost. Like there was a skyscraper, and it gets right up to the top of that. A little bit higher. Then it does a 45-degree turn and shoots towards the Earth faster than I saw it initially moving.
Right. So it was falling.
That's not free fall speed. That was something way faster. That was ridiculous. So I closed the bedroom door and went inside and I sat down.
So what was the last direction that you saw it going?
The last erection?
The last erection you saw was me 3 minutes ago.
You just said the last erection I saw it going.
No, I only talk about One Erection because I love that band. You know the one with the kids?
They're the ones that commit, like the cutters on their. Isn't that One Direction? I don't know. Anyway,
what was the last direction you saw the thing going?
Straight down at about.
Yeah, it was falling.
Do you know what free fall? Jeez,
I don't know what
free fall. Anyway, forget it. So this thing was moving up and then shot down faster than I've seen anything before in my life.
Yeah.
So I went back inside and I'm like, that was so weird. Or was it a bird? No, it was too big to be a bird. Plus a bird can't move at those speeds. What the fuck was it? All right, I can't explain it, whatever. I'm trying to run through these things in my head. And I'm like, no, I really can't come to a conclusion that I'm happy with.
Right.
Next day I wake up, I go online. I'm like, does blah, 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 22nd of September 2012, unidentified object in Carlton, blah, blah, blah. I found one guy who writes a blog, and he's like, yep, I saw it, and it does this, and it does this. And he's like, and then it fucking shot down to the Earth at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. What the fuck?
What was the name of this guy's blog? Because I want to chuck it up there for other people.
Fuck. We'll link it on the.
We'll link it on later. So other people can check it out and form their own opinions.
Yeah. So then I start commenting, going, well, what do you reckon it was? A meteor wouldn't act like that, and so we're having this bit of a banter. Anyway.
Yeah.
We can't come to a conclusion. We don't have, because it happened so quickly. Even if I tried to pull a camera out, because it was so dark, I wouldn't have picked up anything anyway.
Right.
Monday morning I wake up and I go, oh, I'll give it a try again. I look on the internet and it's all over, like news.com.au, Herald Sun, UFOs spotted in Carlton on Saturday night at 22nd.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. That's an actual thing. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is scroll through my phone, just the news headlines, and that was one of the things that came up, and I was just like, what?
Yeah. So I clicked on it and it was like, man has footage. Like, this is going to be awesome. Thank God someone actually got footage of it.
Mm.
All the footage they took, it's not what I saw. Yes, it happened the same night. What I saw happened about midnight-ish. But apparently from 7:30 to about 10:30, everyone started seeing these weird flashing lights zooming across the sky, doing weird things.
You know what I reckon?
What?
You saw it from the back. All the lights were on the other side.
No, the thing I saw was weird. It was like a Flight of the Navigator machine that didn't come out of the workshop. It didn't get the silver decal or whatever.
Oh, right.
It was like a matte grey.
Or maybe it's been around since the 80s and it's all just been scratched off.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just flying around.
But yeah, if you look at the footage, it's all like blinking lights and shit like that. And
Yeah.
and if you look at it, if you put on your skeptic's hat, you can go, fuck, it's a remote-controlled toy helicopter with some lights, or it's a helium balloon with some LED lights and, whatever.
Yeah.
But the most annoying thing is, I'm sure there's a logical explanation for anything, but what I saw, the logical explanation for what it is, I'm not going to know.
You will never know.
And that's the most annoying. I mean, I don't care if it's aliens. I don't care if it's a government thing, like a government experimental craft, or I don't care if it's a fat bird that died halfway through flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour, like it drank a Red Bull and decided to speed around the sky, had a heart attack and dropped dead.
It's possible.
But it's just annoying that I'm not going to know.
Next week on Andy's Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes, exactly. So the thing I learnt this week is, if you can't really explain something, don't invest too much
just
interest,
fucking
because
let it go.
you know what? I've got paid to
got other
do
shit to
work. Well, I've got other shit to do, but like my daily duties at work. But no, that's been consumed by me doing internet searches for, did anybody else see the thing I saw? So, you know what? If it's unexplained, you know what? Whatever. Life goes on. You still have to wake up and do a poo in the morning.
Things are okay to be unexplained. It's
Yeah.
okay to say, I don't know. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially.
You should say, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, but that I kind of just did.
I don't know.
Yeah. What did you learn? Tell me about
What did
you
I
learned.
learn? Oh, God. I learned, well, I don't know if I learned a lesson so much as...
Did you learnt?
I learned a lesson.
Did you learn it?
I learned it. I
Yeah.
learned to learn. To learn.
So you teached yourself a lesson.
I teached myself... Shut up! You and your words and playing with my words.
Go.
No, like, I was reminded of something that I seem to have an issue with, and that is...
Black people. We know this.
Oh, calm down. It's not...
You said you were going to cut this out of the podcast and the future podcast. Don't... Anyway, keep going. Let's see where you're going to go with this.
All right. I've got this thing with The Show Must Go On. Like, it's a Queen song, and it's not a very good Queen song, but, like, the lyrics are just like, shit's falling apart, but the show must go on. Whatever. That's like, and that's kind of something that I go, yeah, that's probably something that I should, hold a little bit of. I should learn to form sentences before I start going on rants. Otherwise, I'll just dig myself into a big old hole. No, that's cool. What was I saying? Something about the show must go on. The show must go on.
The show must go on.
The show, even when you're fucking it up mid-sentence, the show must go on. This is something...
So the point, like that, the lesson that you learned was that sometimes the show shouldn't go on unless there's a plan, or just keep going anyway?
Just keep going anyway, and see what happens.
Yeah, but Hitler did that, and look what happened to him.
Yeah, that is true. Do you reckon there was a point in his career where he just like looked at himself and he went, I'm doing some bad things, but I've already started it, so I just suppose I should keep going.
I reckon that was the moment before he shot himself in that bunker. Like,
I thought he shot himself in the head. In the bunker? Where's the bunker anyway? Is that like a slang term for your butt?
I have nothing to say. I actually have nothing to say.
The show must go on. No, but that reminds me of a story from when I was a wee lad of about 15 years old. And I was at school, and when I'd finish school, sometimes I'd go hang out down the street with a couple of mates. And one of the things that we used to do is shoplifting. What fun, kids. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying it's a thing that happened. Anyway, this is something that we used to do on, quite regular occasions. You'd go into various stores, like steal like candy bars and things like that, and then come out and go, yeah, we stole things. We're cool. We're hard.
Yeah.
We're awesome. And this one time, me and my mate were hanging out, and we're like, oh, we're going to steal a bunch of stuff, and then we're going to go hang out in the drains, because that's the kind of thing you do in Orange.
In country town.
Small country town, that's what you got to do.
Casual racism and hanging out in drains.
Steal things and hang out in the drain.
Yeah.
So that's what we were going to do. So we wandered around in the local supermarket for, I don't know, probably about 20 minutes, picking and choosing all the different things we were getting. Like, we got, like, candy and that sort of thing, of course, and we also got, like, candles and matches and stuff, because you're in a drain, you need some light. And as we're wandering around doing this thing, there must have been, to be honest with you, it didn't even need to be an undercover security person. It could have just been, like, someone at the end of the, one of the...
Checkout chicks?
Yeah, a checkout chick just going, those guys,
Yeah.
fucking dodgy as. Look at them stealing things and shoving things down the front of their pants. Go stop this, somebody. So we're going through the checkout, turnstile thing. We're like, yeah, we're getting away with it. And as we're walking out, this security guard comes out and he's like, puts his hand on our shoulders and he's like, you're nicked. And I'm like, all right, the game's up. And the mate that I'm with, he did, his instant response was like, my response was, all right, that's it. I'm done with this. Fuck it, face the consequences.
Yeah.
What he did, he started running down the street. And I'm just like, maybe I should have done that. So he's running off down the street, and the person that's with me is like, don't you even think about doing that. I'm like, oh, I don't care anyway, I'm done with it. And he's halfway down the street, and he turns, he looks behind him over his shoulder, and he sees that I haven't gone anywhere, and he just stops. He's just like, well, what the fuck am I running for?
Did you come back, or
he came back, and and then we both got hauled off.
Well, good on him for doing that.
Yeah, we got hauled off down to the police station. And so then I spent the next, hour and a half, 2 hours at the police station, giving my statements, getting the slap on the wrist that you get because, you're a minor.
Yeah.
And, they can't charge you for your first offence or anything like that.
Yeah.
And got my mum called in and she came and picked me up and that sort of thing. And, there was lots of embarrassment because, she's like, oh, my little Christian boy is so disappointed. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. But the day that this whole event took place was the same day that the school was having a end of year concert thing. With people get up, they do songs and plays and things like that. And I was part of the English class's performance of a portion of Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
And I played one of the roles. It wasn't a key role, but I played a role.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's no way I can go and do that after this ordeal. I'm totally in the wrong headspace to do it. And as I'm, at home, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, Mum.
You're like in the green room stealing props.
I said to Mum, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go and do the play. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I owe it to everyone. I've got to do the play. So I went down to the concert hall thing, and I turned up and just acted to everybody as if nothing had gone wrong, and they're just like, oh, there's Morgan. He's, I wasn't late or anything like that, and they're just like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, good. And it's like, what's going on? Nothing. Just didn't go to the police station, that's for sure. I didn't mention anything like that. And then I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to do the play. And I'm thinking to myself, I should probably write my lines down on my hand. I don't need to do that. I've got this shit sorted. And then it gets time, and it's like we get told that it's time to do the thing. Like, okay, the English class are going to do their portion of Julius Caesar. Here it is. Everybody gets up and it starts and that sort of thing. And I get up on stage and I'm sitting there in my bed sheet, because it's a Roman toga sort of thing. And everybody looks at me and I don't know what was going through my head at the time, but there was just everybody standing there, and I'm standing there looking around, and then everybody's looking at me, and I'm looking back at them going, with a blank look on my face, going, what's going on? And they're like, you're lying. I'm like, what?
I'm not lying.
What's lying? That would have been better. Like, what? I don't know what it is. And people are whispering at me. I'm like, what? What? And it felt to me like 3 hours of me just going, I don't know what my line is. Standing in front of all these people, just fucking it
Yeah.
up because I thought the show should go on.
Yep.
Yep.
See, it's funny enough. I had the opposite of the show must go on. Yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was the opposite. So casually, just at work, I'm going over some scripts that I thought, Morgan and I should film. And I log on to Facebook, and there's someone that both you and I grew up with back in the country town, New South Wales. I'll change his name. We'll call him Jade, all right?
All right.
So I get this thing on my Facebook from this guy called Jade.
Right.
He's like, next time I see you, I'm going to fucking smash your head in. I thought he was actually joking. So
Yeah.
I'm like, next time I see you, I'm going to do a poo in front of some school children while holding a free Tibet sign. Then another person that we haven't seen for the last 12 to 16 years of our life that we grew
Yeah,
up with,
yeah.
this girl, old classmate, she jumps in going, nice to see the Christian school love between you two.
Yeah.
And then he just goes mental. No, I'm serious. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. I'm gonna bash you. I'm gonna do this. Oh, when I'm gonna see you next. Oh, when you're gonna come back to Orange. I'm gonna get you. All that kind of shit. And then it came to a point where he goes, making fun of people who are less fortunate than yourself is a shit thing to do. He followed that by saying, I'm going to whoop your puny ass. Grow up, and then next one after that, grow up. I'm like,
In the same breath.
yeah, I'm like, he's got to be trolling. If he's trying to make a point by saying, don't take advantage of people who, if you have an advantage over them, you've just said you're going to whip my puny ass, which by your logic, you think that you're stronger than me, and you also want to take advantage of me because you think I'm weaker than you. So are you being ironic? Are you trolling my fucking thing? So I'm kind of engaging with you, and then I'm like, oh my god, no, you're too.
No,
you
he just
you're
wants
just being
to. He just wants to smash
crazy.
everything.
You're being a crazy man.
Yeah.
So then I responded with, look, if you don't like a TV show, turn it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the way he responded to me, I fully understand, like, the Muslim rights,
Yeah.
fundamentalists. I saw something I didn't like. I'm going to get so angry I want to punch things. He had the same reaction to that.
Yeah.
And what I thought was funny, our mate Kirk jumps in, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, there's nothing wrong with making fun of people less fortunate than yourself. However, there is something wrong with threatening someone with physical violence. That is a federal offence. Pissed myself laughing when I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was going to leave it. I'm going to be the better man. And then I woke up this morning, jumped on,
Yeah.
and I was like, I heard his last thing was like, I hope you, I can't wait. Hope to see you for Christmas. And I replied with, hope your kids grow up and fucking notice that their father was a 30-year-old man, a father, acting like a 16-year-old bitch on Facebook, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I sent that, and I thought initially my reaction was when I said, if you don't like a TV show, turn it off.
Yeah.
I was going to leave it at that. So the show mustn't continue.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like the show, you don't have to watch it. And then I replied with that, I hope your kids grow up and see you acting like a bitch. And I thought to myself, I'm doing the same
You're doing the same thing.
I'm doing the same. Why did I engage? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So my lesson recently, in regards to what you said, sometimes the show has to stop.
Sometimes
It really has to stop.
Just turn it off, change channels, it's okay. Just let
Yeah.
it go and get on to something else.
But just ending on that, our friend Kirk,
Yeah.
he shall be coming on the podcast very, very soon.
He'll probably be on the next one. We won't say definitely for sure
No, we'll
because
find out.
we
We'll
might
work
put
it
one
out.
in between when that happens. But yeah, we'll get him on as soon as we can.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been meaning to get Kirk on for a bit.
Yeah.
So he'll be on, which is going to be good. You guys are going to like that. He's a very funny man.
Yeah, so we should probably wrap up. I think
Yeah, I
we've
think we should.
almost recorded another episode's worth.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's cool. That's fine. Like, you know, it's better to have too much than not enough. Unless it's heroin.
I was going to say, yeah. All right, guys. guys, we're
on
going to
that
leave it
note-
at that.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast session and the one preceding, which I will...
They just listen to it. What were you going to say?
Oh, I said I was going to listen to it.
Oh, you're going to
I
listen to it.
like it.
All right.
Anyway, just before we go, I thought I'd just jump in and say, if you like what you hear, you don't have to give us money. Just like us. Let us know you're listening.
Oh,
Simple as that.
yeah. If you're listening to it through iTunes, rate the episode. If you like certain episodes, go give it 10 stars. That's awesome. If you don't like it so much, give it 1 or 2 stars. But just like some sort of feedback. That's cool.
If you give it 1 star, at least leave your name and address so I can come to your house and set your pet dog on fire.
He will do that. I've
Yeah,
seen him
actually
do
will.
lesser things to nicer people.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.